We have some big news right now. The United States military is no longer going to be recruiting at a prestigious Black Engineering Awards event following Donald Trump's anti-DEI executive order. According to military.com, the United States Army and other service branches will no longer be recruiting this year at the Black Engineer of the Year Awards, or BEYA, B-E-Y-A. It's an annual conference that draws students, academics, and professionals in science, technology, engineering, and math. And historically, it's been used to help recruit some of America's best and brightest in the military and the Pentagon. Well, now after Trump's anti-DEI executive order and Pete Hegseth essentially telling the Department of Defense it can no longer observe Black History Month, it's no longer going to be recruiting from this pool of highly qualified and talented applicants.
Hi guys, welcome to another video. It's Ndagire here. Thanks for clicking on this video. So this is quite some interesting video that I really had to talk about. We all know that the world is changing and it looks like them people are preparing for something that they know is yet to happen, and we all know it's gonna happen. Like even Kendrick Lamar talked about it, like the revolution is gonna happen. It might not be televised, but it is surely gonna happen, and that's why they are now preparing themselves by denying access of Black people in the military, because there's no other excuse that you can give on why Black people are being kicked out from participating or being recruited in the military, when they've been the ones that have been doing the most to go to other countries and fight for a country that doesn't even like them. And it's so concerning to me. Actually, it's not even concerning. I'm wondering, did them people think doing this is going to affect Black people in a way? Because let's face it, the most resilient group of people on this planet Earth are Black people globally. Global. Because when you look into America and what Black people have been going through and what they are going through and still standing, you should be amazed. When you look in the African continent with everything that we've been going through, and we are still going through, and we are still strong and still fighting to keep strong. Amazing. So I don't know how or why them people are doing all the most to provoke my people into reacting. That's what it looks like. My people are so quiet and silent and not participating in any of the chaos that is going on in the US. They are just seated and relaxed and watching. So it's like them people are doing the majority of things that can kind of trigger Black people into reaction. And it's not really working, because my people are like, you know what, maybe this is actually a good thing, because we are not going to keep on doing this, fighting for a country, fighting for a group of people that don't see any value in us. They want our bodies to be the face of their struggles. They want our bodies to go and, conquer nations, for them to claim that victory. Not anymore. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise. And as us people, as Black people, we are resilient, strong, powerful, and almighty. We go through things and we still win. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise for us to actually look into things and start making our own army as Black people. But guys, listen to what people had to say about this whole thing. Come back and let me know your thoughts on it.
The military is no longer recruiting Black men because of DEI. They've opted out of recruiting engineers and just everyday Black people. Since Frumpy has taken office, over 300 and something people have been registering to become part of the armed service every day since December. Most of those people are going to be white because they're MAGA lovers. I want y'all to keep this in perspective. Military is overly seen as Black. We make up the majority of the Marines, majority of the Army, majority of the Air Force. We make up majority of the armed forces in America. And it was because during most of the times, this country did not have a problem sacrificing Black bodies for the sake of the country. And they made sure that the recruiting areas were in low-income housing areas, the hood, the ghetto, where they know people did not have a chance of either graduating high school with a diploma, they would have to get a GED, going to college, or they didn't have the skill set to get a certain type of job. But now, it has worked against them. Because they know if we went to Civil War, the highly trained, skilled soldiers are majority Black. Also would have to worry about the white people who are actually on the Black side and every other race. And if we had a Civil War right now, white folks would lose. So they're stacking their recruitment And they are ignoring DEI, which just means black people, because that's what they think DEI is, so they can make sure they have the upper hand when shit pops off in this country. Because whether we want to know it or not, it will pop off sooner or later. And they want to make sure that the odds are not against them. They're going to get young, ignorant, uneducated European Americans to do their dirty work. But we got YNs. We grew up in survival mode. The one thing white folks can never take from black folks is how to survive. And we're always one step ahead of y'all when it comes to your hate and your racism. You don't think we're not prepared? Trust me, we all recruit as many as you want. It won't make a difference in the end.
So the American army is not going to be recruiting black people. So you're no longer going to entice young black people to go and fight for wars and die for wars for a country that doesn't value them. So you think this is going to be a punishment, that the black people will no longer be able to fight in wars and die for a cause that doesn't serve them? Interesting. Very interesting.
Donald Trump just passed a law that he wanted to keep black men and women out of the service, military, of any kind. Because if we are trained in those very positions, their fear is that we'll train our people outside the military, regular, everyday, average black and Americans, to know that we can fuck them up because we will protect our people at any cost. They forget. They built us this way. We were created and designed this way because of slavery. They purposely designed us to be smarter, faster, quicker, and stronger. And we were that long before we were forced over here. But what they don't know is we know them more than they know us. And Donald Trump and his cronies and Elon Musk are fucking idiots because their fear is that we will stomp our knee onto their neck. And I'm here for it.
So the military said they finna stop recruiting from the Black Engineer of the Year award event after Trump got rid of the DEI program. So they getting rid of diversity, period, and they starting at the top and going down. And that's all right. They're just trying to build the most powerful white nation that they can. That's all that is. That's all this country was ever meant to be. So it don't matter if you're the descendant of a slave or the descendant of the merchants that came over here or either of the native people. It don't matter. If we get a sign to go somewhere where it's a whole lot more of us, like Africa got 980 million people that look like us, Haiti, Jamaica, Brazil, then we need to go. All that fighting over this and fighting with them, that shit we need to go. Fuck all that shit.
As you've seen in the video, that is what people had to say, and I love the response of my people. Like, this is not something to shake us or shake them. This is not the first time these people are doing the most to attack or, trying to pull and push black people back in the back again. They are seeing that they are the ones struggling, and they still want to pull black people into that struggle by doing all the means to squeeze my people into reaction. But it's not going to happen, because I think enough is enough for black bodies to be the struggle of everyone else but themselves. This is the time. And I saw a video of some white woman that was like, about the Super Bowl, as we're complaining. Where is that diversity? There were no white, people represented in the Super Bowl, no dancers that were white and all that. Like, imagine a place where, white people just say no black people, no other people, and it's just white people. And I'm like, is this woman insane? Because she needs to look into her own history and see how her people have been doing this thing of diversity when it comes to black people or indigenous, but especially black people. So I'm like, oh wow, these people are triggered when they don't see themselves, but when it's them that are controlling everything and other people are not represented, it's not an issue. The entitlement, guys, the entitlement.
Y'all, can you imagine if next year's Super Bowl is all white people? Can you envision how much rage that will cause? I can. But it's a double standard. Because this year's Super Bowl had not one white person in it. But it was cool. It was fine. I mean, I personally thought the show was trash, but that's my opinion. And I'm sure that I will get a ton of fucking hate for this video because I'm white and I'm saying this. But you know what? White people can experience racism. I'm sorry that ruffles some feathers, and I'm sorry that you think you own racism, because you don't. Grow up and do better. Rage.
What's the problem? You voted for the man to get rid of DEI, and he did. Maybe there were not any white people qualified for the job at the Super Bowl. Maybe white dancers didn't make the cut because the black dancers were better. Complaining that what you voted for is working. Right? We wanted the most qualified person for the job. That didn't mean white people. Why would he include a white dancer if a dancer was not qualified to dance at the Super Bowl? I mean, do you really want a white dancer taking the job away from a black dancer simply because of their skin color? Because they're white? Wouldn't you want the black dancers to represent since they are the most qualified at the Super Bowl? Ma'am. And if you want a white person to take a job away from a black person because they're white, ma'am, you're racist.
Can you imagine if next year's Super Bowl is all white people?
Can you imagine voting for the guy who wants to get rid of DEI because he thinks it's a threat, and then getting upset when there's no DEI in the Super Bowl? Like, did you not understand that less diversity goes both ways? What makes you think that you're entitled to be included when you don't want to include anyone else? Y'all are so dense, man.
For those of you that are familiar with my work, yes, this is going to be one of those videos. For those of you that are unfamiliar, well, you're probably going to hate me after this. So I have a few questions for you there, Tatted Ginger. Why exactly did the Super Bowl need more white people? What role would they have played? And how many white people exactly did you need there to be for it to be permissible for you? Would it have added any benefit to the performance, or did you just want to see some white people there just because? The other thing I want to point out to you is that almost every single person performing during the Super Bowl halftime show was white. If you disagreed with that, why did so many of the performers have last names like Smith, Anderson, Johnson, Lamar, and Jackson? Names that have derivations from Eastern and Western Europe. And therein lies the problem with people like you, Tatted Ginger. You ignore America's history. Almost every single person on that field has white ancestry. For some of them, I can almost guarantee you that that was not a voluntary decision for some of their ancestors. So the actual problem is not the fact that they aren't white. The problem is that they're not white enough for you. And as to your last point about white people suffering from racism. How? Some of you just don't get it. Black people only respond to racism, they don't create it. There is no black equivalent to the Ku Klux Klan. There is no black equivalent to redlining. There's no black equivalent to them being denied access to the GI Bill. At no point were white people ever relegated to the back of a bus. At no point in American history did the Chicago police and the FBI collude to murder any member of a white hate group in their sleep, like they did with Fred Hampton. And it's okay if you don't know who that is. No one expects you to. No, and by the way, if you're one of the people who happen to watch this and feel like commenting, well, the Irish had slaves too, go ahead. I fucking dare you.
Imagine if next year's Super Bowl is all white people.
But didn't you hear, ma'am? DI got removed, so we no longer have to hire people due to the color of their skin. And it's all about merit and qualifications. It's hard to break it to you, but white people just weren't qualified to dance in that art, that masterpiece that was that stage that night. They just weren't qualified. But that's what you wanted, ma'am. So that's what you got.
You know, when you celebrated them getting rid of DEI, well, now you're seeing the results of that. A white person on that stage would have been a DEI hire. And we can't have that anymore. And you've obviously not watched very many Super Bowl shows, because I can name several that were all white with not one black person in it. But you're not ready for that conversation because you're too busy playing victim because DEI did not hit the way you wanted it to. But we sure are getting a kick out of all these racist tears.
Do you not realize that without black people there would be no NFL or halftime shows, period? Do you think there's enough white people in the world to actually form a fucking football team. Without black people, there wouldn't be NFL or boxing or fucking baseball for that matter. Your ignorance, no. Your hate is showing. It's hateful. It's hateful. When you can't take 2 seconds. When you can't take 2 fucking seconds to do better.
Interesting. This woman that was talking about no diversity, hilarious. And I loved how her own people called her out. These people pretend to act like they have been the most sent on this planet Earth, but they've been the most racist group of people on this planet Earth. With every system that we have today that they put in place, it's always been about race, and it's about race in their eyes and faces. This should really be an eye-opener for us black people to know that no matter what, even if you fight for a people that don't see you with value or as value, they'll never choose us. And this is clearly it. They have been using black bodies to go and conquer nations. Even in the wars that happened in the War I and War II, my people were used, never given credit, still being used today. But they are like, no, we don't need you anymore. Actually, now we can do it on our own. That should show us where we stand when we don't fight for ourselves and fight for other people. And it's interesting because this is karma coming back to them people. They were doing this deliberately, choosing my people from poor backgrounds because they thought it would benefit them in a way, but they've reached a time where majority of their army is full of my people, and in case anything happens, they lose. In case anything comes up, they lose because they don't have majority of them people that are willing, that have been willing to go and participate in that field of security. So it's quite interesting how this is going to unfold, that now their kids have now to be forced to go and do that service that they probably have not been willing and seen themselves as part of. They've been seeing it as it's a black thing to do. It's a black body thing to do, to go put themselves out there and lose themselves for a country that is not for them. How does it feel to be in a situation where now you are forced to produce, forced to struggle, forced to go and work in the things that migrants have been working in, forced to now join the army because they don't want people that look like me in that area? How does that feel like as a palmed person today in 2025? Quite interesting, right? This is not something to take us back. They are doing all means necessary to, trying to push a button to black people to go and do something crazy, which is not going to happen. My people are not going to go and lose their lives over things that don't even make sense to them anymore. And in a world where they're not the only ones suffering, everybody's suffering the same way with the consequences of the leader that they voted for. Why should even black people go and do or say anything? Like, why? Why should they even go and fight? What they thought when they do this, it's going to now spark something. No, really. Actually, it's making black people more stronger and more united and connected to be like, oh, wait a minute. These people have never seen us as saints, even if we do this, even if we fight for them. So why even bother?
I just want to say I am so proud of the black community. We have been sticking together 10 toes down. Now, we can keep this going and improve while we keep going. Lately, it's just been fun. No arguments. No, oh, why does black people do da-da-da-da? No. I mean, we have a lot of people coming at us right now, but we literally have been ignoring them. We have not been entertaining them. They've been calling us out of our name. We haven't been stitching their videos, nothing. We're literally like, oh, well, say what you want. We're still not helping. Now, I do feel like there's going to be a time where they force us into this whole, propaganda they have going on. They're going to be like, okay, well, we're going to have to force the black community into protesting. And then that's when we're going to have to really lock in together. We're going to have to lock in because we all know they're waiting on us. And as soon as black people get to, protesting, that's it. That's it. They're going to kick in martial law and everything is going to jump. Don't react.
we might as well just focus on promoting ourselves, supporting ourselves, doing things that better the black community as in general, connect with other black people around the world, put out information that we are all facing the same thing, and really have sense now to fight for what truly belongs to a black child, a black body, if that makes sense. But yeah, guys, that is it for me in the video. Let me know what you think about this. Like, is this like a stepping stone on black people? And are them people going to be able to fight for their country when they've never won anything without the bodies of black people in their face, in their circle? Guys, that is it for me in the video. Let me know what you think about this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Yeah, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.